Hi, everybody. This is the update for my May economic report for the Caribbean. So starting with the Bahamas, GDP growth accelerated to 2.3% in 2018, which is up from 1.4% in 2017, based on strong tourism performance and foreign direct investment-led construction. For the first quarter of this year, Barbados reported that its economy contracted by 0.2%, mainly as a result of a 9% reduction in construction activity and weaker expansion in tourism. Barbados's international reserves have continued to recover as a result of inflows coming from the multilateral lending agencies such as the IMF, the IDB, and CDB, for example. In the Cayman Islands, they released their 3-year strategic policy statement, which continues to forecast growth of over 2% per annum through 2022, alongside fiscal surpluses, with construction contributing to growth and being the major contributor to growth going forward. The government will maintain a policy of no new borrowing, and the Cayman Islands, incidentally, has one of the lowest, if not the lowest level of debt in the region. Cuba's economy is actually facing increasing pressure with reduced aid and oil shipments coming from Venezuela. Power outages and rationing are again becoming more frequent in Cuba. A reversal of the Obama administration's rapprochement with new restrictions on remittances and to non-family travel will have a negative effect as well on Cuba's economy. In Guyana, economic growth accelerated to 4.1% in 2018, which is nearly double the 2.1% growth that they experienced in 2017. For 2019, the Central Bank of Guyana expects the economy to grow by 4.4% and will continue to be broad-based. And as we know, oil production will come on stream in 2020, and growth is expected to ramp up to 30% per annum. Jamaica's debt to GDP has fallen below 100% for the first time in 18 years. Growth has been estimated at 1.8% in 2018 in Jamaica. And the Central Bank of Jamaica, in line with its inflation targeting policy, has lowered its policy rate to 0.75% effective May 20th and reduced its cash reserve requirement to further stimulate growth in Jamaica. Suriname's foreign currency reserves continued to show an improvement and were up 32% year on year in March. And the expansion of the monetary base could erode some of the economic gains experienced in recent years. Narrow money, for example, grew by 39% year on year in February of 2019, and the current ratio of money supply to international reserves is around 11 to 1, suggesting that the exchange rate of 7.52 to 1 could come under pressure if this printing of the central bank continues and financing of the government persists, which is likely to happen given that 2020 is an election year. The other country in which elections are coming up is Trinidad and Tobago. The Minister of Finance, in his mid-year budget review, recently reported that the economy returned to growth in 2018, and he is estimating that growth at 1.9% based on results of growth for the first 3 quarters. But even with a 1.9% positive growth for 2018, the average of GDP growth over the last decade has actually been negative 0.5%. So 10 years average growth has been close to zero, but has actually been negative 0.5%. So 3 quarters of positive growth, in my view, does not signal an economic turnaround. And the size of the economy now, by the way, is still 10% below where it stood in nominal terms in 2008, 10 years ago. The minister also announced plans to increase the fiscal deficit by 300 million TT dollars, despite earning more fiscal revenue than he expected to in the budget. And therefore, this increase in the deficit of 300 million TT dollars is not driven by lower revenues, but by higher expenditure. And so I just want to emphasize the point that this wider deficit is based on a conscious decision by the government to expand fiscal spending. And this has historically been the case where fiscal spending becomes much more accommodative in the 18 months before an election. And we don't expect that this is going to change this time. I hope you've enjoyed this update and looking forward to hearing your feedback. Please share it with anyone you think would find it useful. Thank you.